Now we move into the corporation. Remember I said when I gave the brief history, we was exposed to this, LLC type of way of doing business and was attracted to it, but we already had corporations established. The corporate entity was established in the 1500s, so we already had that well before we was exposed to this after the LLC after World War II. The corporation has a lot of requirements that you have to meet by law. Again, read your state law, but a lot of them are pretty much general, right? So you need your board of directors. Now each state may tell you who can be a board of director, who can't. Some states say one person can be all seats. Some states may not allow that. You have the age factor. So there's different things you'll look at on what qualifies, you to establish whatever that requirement is in your state. However, there is a requirement. Bylaws are another thing that you need to establish for that. Having meetings and taking minutes in those meetings. So there's a lot of things listed that you have to, a lot of checks and balances that you have to, make sure you are covering in order to not just form an LLC, but to remain to form a corporation, but to remain in compliance running that corporation. You have your annual, registration. You just got to stay on top of all the things that you need to stay on top of. So that's why the LLC was attractive, because up front, at least, there weren't all these stringent requirements, all of these, dot the I's, cross the T's required. It wasn't, mandatory of having a board of director or, meetings with the minutes, the notes, all these different things. You were able to operate, especially if you was just a single member, a one person solo owner. You were able to operate as a sole proprietor, but you have the protections of a corporation. It was perfect. It looks great. Let's do this. But that's where it can actually get tricky. So I will stop there. I gave you the brief history of what the limited liability company is. I talked about the different type of entities that you will register with the Secretary of State in your particular state. And I also talked about ways that you can form your business and not have to register with the Secretary of State, but where you don't have that limited liability protection, and how you can expose your personal assets with your business assets as well. All right, so that is it for today. And for part 2, we will cover what actually the limited liability company is. Since I went through all of the different business entities, now we'll focus on in part 2 what the LLC is. I will see you in part 2.